Do your programs have a bunch of related information that you're currently storing in multiple variables? Isn't this messy and hard to track? When you have multiple related pieces of data, using a Python list helps you group them together in one structured container instead of spreading them across multiple separate variables. Let's see how to use them with a simple example. To store the names of our friends using a list, we start by writing a pair of square brackets. Between these brackets, we write each friend's name, separated by commas. And that's it. Running the cell, we've successfully created a list of items. But if we wanted to use this list later, we need to store it somewhere. To save our list, we can assign it to a variable, say friends, just like we would with a number or a string. If we print this variable and rerun the code, we can see that it contains the names of our friends. Now that we've created our list, let's see how to use it to print a happy birthday message to Nathan. To do that, we need to access his name from the friends list. In Python, we can select a specific item using its position, also called its index. Note that Python indexes start at 0, not 1, which might feel a little strange at first. This means that the index associated with Nathan is 2, even though he is the third person in the list. So to access the value at a specific index, we must write the name of the list followed by square brackets that contain the index. In our example, to access Nathan's name, we write friends, square brackets, 2. This operation is called indexing. Running the cell, we print a happy birthday message to Nathan. Indexing, though, is not limited to accessing values. It can also be used to modify values. For example, suppose we want to refer to our friend Nathan by his nickname Nate. To do this, we can simply reassign the value at index 2 to Nate. Running the cell again, we can see that the value Nathan has been updated to Nate. Accessing a single item is great, but sometimes we want to select multiple items at once. For example, suppose we're planning a small party, and we only want to invite Paul and Dana. Instead of indexing each person one by one, Python gives us a shortcut called slicing, which lets us grab parts of a list. To slice a list from some index to another, we write the starting index, followed by a colon, and the ending index in between brackets. Note that in Python, the ending index is excluded from the slice, but the starting index is included. For example, to get the slice of the friends list, containing Paul and Dana, we write 0 as the start index and 2 as the stop index. Running the code, we get the first two names, Paul and Dana. We can also slice from the middle of the list. Maybe this time we want to invite Dana and Nathan. To do that, we start at index 1 and stop right before index 3. Running the cell, we can see that it prints exactly those two names. And if we also wanted to invite Lily, we could update the end index to 4. This might look strange since there's no index 4 in the list, but remember, the ending index is excluded. Running the code, our slice now contains Lily. Note that when retrieving a slice that includes the end of the list, we can also leave out the ending index. This syntax is a convenient shorthand. Another convenient feature of Python lists is negative indexing. Negative indexes count from the end of the list, so -1 refers to the last item, -2 to the one before it, and so on. So if we want to again invite Dana and Nathan, we can specify the start index -3 and the stop index -1. Running the cell, we get those two names. Awesome! Indexing and slicing let us access parts of a list, but lists can also be modified after they're created. For example, we might want to add a new friend, or remove one who moved away. To do this, Python gives us list methods, which are built-in tools that let us easily add, remove, and rearrange items. Let's see how to use list methods by first adding our new friend Eli to the list. To add Eli, we can use the append method, which adds an item to the end of the list. We simply follow the name of the list with .append and pass in Eli as the argument. When we print the list and run the code, we see that Eli appears at the end of the list. Now suppose our friend Dana moves away and can't come to our parties anymore, so we'll remove her from the list. To remove Dana, we'll use the remove method and pass in Dana as an argument. Running the cell, we can see that Dana is no longer in our list. Finally, we can rearrange our list in alphabetical order using the sort method. To sort the names, we simply write the name of the list, followed by a sort method call, no parameters needed. After running the code, the names appear in sorted order. Methods like append, remove, and sort make lists incredibly flexible. They let us update and organize data easily, without recreating the list from scratch. There are several other built-in list methods. We'll leave a link to the documentation in the description. Great! Now that we know how to manage a single list, let's look at how lists can work together. In many programs, data comes from different places. Maybe one list for friends from home and another for friends from work. Before we can use them as one group, we'll want to combine them. Python makes it easy to combine lists using the plus operator. To combine the two lists, we simply write the name of the first list, then add a plus, and then the name of the second list. This operation is called concatenation. Running the code, we get a single list containing all of our friends. From here, we could save this combined list to a new variable and apply any of the list methods we learned earlier. Awesome! We've seen how to create lists, access their items, modify them with methods, and even combine multiple lists into one. Lists are one of Python's most flexible and powerful data structures, and before we finish, there are two things worth knowing that make them even more useful. First, a list can hold as many items as you need. There is no fixed size. You can keep adding or removing elements as your program evolves. And second, a list can store any kind of data, strings, numbers, and even other lists, all in the same collection if you want. This flexibility makes lists an essential building block in Python. If you'd like to practice what you've learned in this video, check out the notebook we created. It has a few exercises to get you started. We're working on lots more Python explainer videos like this one, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out. If you found this video helpful, make sure to share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or topics that you'd like to learn about, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching!